Imagine picking up your phone right now and realizing that the app you've been using every single day for the past 10 years has been quietly watching something far more personal than your likes, your shares, or your search history. Not watching what you type, not watching what you post, but watching what you almost typed. The words you started writing and then deleted. The thoughts you had and then decided to keep private. The searches you began and then abandoned halfway through. Now imagine finding out that a company worth over $1 trillion has built an artificial intelligence system specifically designed to analyze those unfinished thoughts, those deleted words, those abandoned searches, and use them to build a profile of your mind that is more accurate than anything you have ever consciously shared with anyone. That company is Meta. And what they just activated inside the apps, already sitting on your phone, is something that privacy researchers, neuroscientists, and civil liberties organizations are calling the most significant threat to human cognitive privacy in the history of the internet. This is not a future concern. This is not a theoretical risk being debated in academic papers. This is a capability that Meta has already built, already deployed, and is already using on hundreds of millions of people who have no idea it is happening. To understand why what Meta just activated is so fundamentally different from every previous privacy concern the technology industry has generated, you first need to understand the extraordinary scale of what Meta already controls before this latest development even enters the picture. Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads. Combined, these platforms have over 3.2 billion monthly active users, meaning that roughly 40% of every human being alive on Earth uses a Meta product at least once a month. The company generated over $160 billion in revenue in 2025, almost entirely from advertising built on behavioral data collected from those users. Meta's entire business model is built on one foundational principle. The more accurately it can predict what a user wants, fears, desires, and responds to, the more valuable its advertising inventory becomes. Every innovation Meta has ever deployed in data collection, behavioral modeling, and psychological profiling has served that single foundational principle. And the AI system they just activated represents the most powerful implementation of that principle in the company's history. If the idea that Meta has built a system specifically designed to analyze your unfinished thoughts does not make you want to understand exactly how this works, hit like and subscribe right now, because the technical explanation of what Meta built is significantly more alarming than the description alone suggests. So what exactly did Meta build, and how does a system analyze thoughts that were never actually expressed? Everything comes down to a specific category of behavioral data that researchers call pre-expression signals. And Meta has spent years building the infrastructure to collect and analyze them at scale. Every time you open Instagram and start typing a comment and then delete it, that deletion is logged. Every time you begin a search on Facebook and then clear it before hitting enter, that abandoned search is recorded. Every time you pause on a piece of content for 3 seconds longer than average before scrolling past it, that hesitation is measured. Every time you start composing a message and then close the app without sending it, the content of that unsent message and the decision not to send it are both captured. Individually, each of these signals seems minor. Collectively, analyzed by an AI system trained on billions of such signals across hundreds of millions of users, they form a pattern that researchers say is more revealing of genuine psychological states, genuine fears, genuine desires, and genuine beliefs than anything a person would consciously choose to share. Meta's new AI system, which the company has described publicly using carefully neutral technical language that obscures its actual capability, is specifically designed to synthesize these pre-expression signals into predictive psychological profiles that anticipate what a user is thinking before they decide whether or not to express it. Read that again. Meta built a system to know what you are thinking before you decide to share it. And it is already running on your phone right now. The specific applications of this capability that have already been documented go significantly beyond targeted advertising, which is alarming enough on its own. Researchers analyzing Meta's patent filings from 2024 and 2025 found applications describing the use of pre-expression signal analysis for political opinion modeling, emotional state detection, financial anxiety, identification, and relationship status prediction, all derived not from what users post, but from what they almost post and then decide not to. A study published in 2025 by a digital rights research organization found that Meta's advertising systems were already serving ads based on inferred psychological states that users had never expressed on any platform, with accuracy rates that suggested the system was successfully reading behavioral signals invisible to the users themselves. In one documented case, users received targeted advertisements for anxiety medication based on browsing hesitation, patterns and abandoned search queries that never included the word anxiety in any completed form. The system inferred the psychological state from behavior alone, without a single consciously shared data point. But here is what nobody's explaining to the billions of people whose psychological profiles are being built right now without their knowledge or meaningful consent. The legal framework governing what Meta can collect, analyze, and monetize was designed for a world where data meant things people consciously chose to share. Status updates, photos, explicit searches. The law never anticipated a world where the most valuable data is the data people specifically chose not to share, and where an AI system could extract meaningful psychological intelligence from the act of deletion itself. Meta's terms of service, which virtually nobody reads in full, contain language broad enough to encompass pre-expression signal collection under existing consent frameworks in most jurisdictions. The European Union's GDPR has begun examining whether pre-expression data collection requires explicit separate consent, but regulatory action moves at a pace that cannot keep up with the deployment speed of the system already running. In the United States, there's currently no federal privacy law that specifically addresses cognitive data derived from behavioral signals. Meta is operating in a legal vacuum specifically designed to protect the kind of data that used to be considered private by definition. Your unspoken thoughts? The bottom line is this. Meta did not accidentally build a system that reads your mind. They built it deliberately, deployed it quietly, and are already using it on hundreds of millions of people because the business case for knowing what users are thinking before they decide to share it is worth billions of dollars in advertising revenue annually. The privacy frameworks designed to protect personal data were never built to protect cognitive data derived from behavior. The regulatory agencies responsible for enforcing those frameworks are years behind the technology they are supposed to govern. And the billions of people whose pre-expression signals are being collected, analyzed, and monetized right now have no practical way to opt out of a data collection system they cannot see, do not understand, and were never clearly told existed. Meta just crossed a line that most people did not even know existed. The line between data you choose to share and thoughts you choose to keep private. Make sure you understand what crossed that line and why it matters before. The next update quietly expands what it can see. Hit the like button and subscribe to Quantum Pulse because your data and your privacy are exactly what this channel exists to protect.